I got infinity money.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Beyond the Backboard Podcast, episode 34. I almost messed up there. 34. My name is Omar. Below me is Max. Next to me is Earl. And we are live after blowing game 5.
Oh, okay. Trying to see where the vision was on that sentence.
Yeah. That's crazy that you thought otherwise. Like, this is an NBA podcast. How dare you?
All right. Let's lock in.
Anyway, let's just talk about this briefly. Get this shit out of the way. I don't want to talk about it for the rest of the episode. I was excited after game 4. Got a huge dub in Philadelphia. And then it seemed like we crumbled the same way the Philadelphia 76ers crumbled in game 2. They essentially gave us what we gave to them 2 games ago.
Yeah,
so,
basically.
I mean,
Except
I'm not.
This one was entirely our fault, and it was not ref assisted in any way.
Yeah, seriously. Like, this was just a battle of bad defense and bad shot taking. Like, I never, ever want to shit on Jalen Brunson, but I understand he had 40-something points. But my boy, at the end of the day, you are a point guard. Please pass the ball. It's okay. I understand. But it was painful to watch yesterday. That was really painful. Yeah. Shout out Tyrese Maxey.
I mean, listen, Maxey is that guy. Like, Maxey,
I can't even hate on it. Like,
at
you can
ask me. I don't think you can argue that Tyrese Maxey. Well, maybe you could argue, but I think Tyrese Maxey has been the best, certainly the best Sixer in this series. Like, he has outperformed Joel, and the degree to which Tyrese Maxey just saved Joel Embiid's entire legacy needs to be talked about. Like, the articles about Embiid, dude, y'all know how many turnovers Embiid had yesterday? Take a guess.
He had around 8, right?
He's in his Braun bag. I would say 9 to 10.
I saw him throw away
with turnovers.
I saw him throw the ball away like 10 times. I was like,
yeah, no, he was making some bad turnovers. He was missing shots. He was missing free throws. He wasn't playing much of any defense. The articles were already being written. The Joel Embiid playoff hating narrative was already in full force. This was going to be like the Ben Simmons, his Ben Simmons moment, getting 4-1 in the first round. Granted, he's on one leg, but like the narrative was about to absolutely take off. And then Tyrese Maxey said, "Nah, I got you, bro." And he just backpacked Embiid into overtime. And then Embiid's credit, he played well in the overtime. He did do well in the overtime, but his legacy just got absolutely bailed out. Like, this is some Ray Allen bailing out LeBron James legacy type action.
Right, it's not that serious. That won a championship.
True. But it's that same kind
championship.
Of vibe. It's that same kind of vibe where it's like the legacy was it was teetering and it was going like this. And then Tyrese Maxey brought it back at least for one more game. So, I mean, listen, shout out to Maxey. Dude hit 2 incredible shots and then cooked us in overtime. It's really unfortunate, but we move next game. Knicks got 2 games to win. I think we can win either of them. We just got to close them, We're there. We're close. Just got to get the job done.
Yeah.
Like the Lakers couldn't.
Yeah. I mean, all things aside, I mean, I do think we're going to close it out. I just really wanted it to be in 5 just to push the Joel narrative.
Why'd you put a ChatGPT paragraph in the chat?
Huh? I did what?
Why'd you ChatGPT?
No, but my thoughts on the Knicks thing, I feel like it was just one of those games. Like Tyrese Maxey, like you guys said. Shout out to Max on Max. Paul. Shout out to Tyrese Maxey.
Do we have to pause the podcast?
We keep going.
Do we have to pause?
Let me cook.
All right.
Tyrese Maxey, what he did last night was something that it's not that I didn't expect it. It's just what he's been able to do in the playoffs has been spectacular to watch. Like, he is a playoff riser. People were complaining about him getting most improved. I was a little bit on that fence as well, but like seeing his progress from last year to this year and his ability to take over games is truly amazing to see. So shout out to Maxey. And I'll say this again, in a league where Jalen Brunson, like top guard in the East or really in the NBA, regardless, I feel like Maxey and him are having one of the best like guard duels I've seen really in the playoffs in the last couple of years, let alone in the first round. So I'll say credit to that. I said this in the beginning. My favorite series to watch in the playoffs was Knicks Sixers and Lakers Nuggets, because every single game almost comes down to like the last possession. Like that's how you're gonna win by making the right plays. Like making big shots is what wins you games. And I feel like on both sides, both teams are showing that ability. So I've been enjoying the series, man. I know I'll be joking a lot, but it's just fun to watch like really good basketball. Like Max said, like Joel Embiid just playing this bad, like compared to his standards, and seeing Tyrese Maxey just step up and kind of be that superhero. And then I seen the interview too. He told Joel Embiid like, "Hey, I got you. Like you've been carrying me this long. It's my turn." And like seeing Maxey have that type of maturity, like in this type of situation, win or go home, like it was just cool to see. And like same thing on the Knicks side. It's not like Jalen Brunson. He was locked in. First two possessions of the overtime, 3-point shot, crazy mid range, just like he's been doing all night. Like on both sides, it's just high level basketball. So that's what I appreciate, man. I'm just glad that playoff basketball is here, and like it's not like a hey, you're just gonna go home. Like people are gonna fight for the chance to keep going in the playoffs. So I respect that a lot. It was a great game from my perspective.
I never understood the understanding. I never understood the understanding. That makes sense. But I never understood the fact of like flashbacks, right? You know how when people have like actual flashbacks in real time where you don't realize it. I get that sometimes. And I didn't understand it up until last night, where I saw Tyrese Maxey shoot from the fucking half court line. And I said, "Is that Paul George?" It scared me. It scared me a bit. I thought it was Paul George. Like I had a flashback where I saw Paul George do the same thing, where he was like drains it, and then I just see Maxey.
I'm missing something. What is this flashback moment? When did Paul George hit a logo shot?
Do you not remember? Do you not remember the legendary moment where he was like, and then they backed off of him? He was just holding it at back court. He was wide open and he just shot it. Earl, do you know what I'm talking about?
Are you talking about that TikTok?
It's not a TikTok.
No, I know what you're talking about. That shot when he was on.
Who is this against?
Are you talking about?
Team was Paul George on?
This is not any against any relevant team.
He's talking about Pacers Paul George when he called off the screen and then he shot it like a deep three, just sitting there in the possession with the shot going down. Yeah. I mean, I think it's kind of different, but I see the vision that you were going with, like a crazy limitless shot.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
it just gave me flashes. It didn't give me like a whole breakdown of it, right? But it just gave me flashes of Paul George.
It gave me flashes of.
Once we can actually see the
Hibbert misses, rebounds. Paul George right over there.
Oh, I do remember that.
Yeah.
Okay, that's decently similar. Give me credit. It's about the same distance. All right. I see the vision.
It's quite literally the exact same difference. If we go back.
I'm impressed. You remember that, honestly.
Actually, shot. Half court.
I mean, this is different. I mean, Maxey's shot is definitely harder because he's coming across half court with
and he was moving at the same time. So I give him that.
This was a pull up. This
is one of the most beautiful shots.
I just want to say, Josh Hart, you sold this fucking shot. By the way, he missed it. He missed a free throw before this. So Josh Hart, you got a lot of explaining.
I mean, listen, you missed a free throw. OG also missed a free throw before this.
Make or miss lead. Even Joel Embiid, Maxey missed a free pointer.
That's not the same spot. And he's leaning and he's jumping against McBride and Mitchell Robinson. McBride and Robinson.
That shot is like that Dame shot to send them boys packing. That's the shot that reminded me of.
I was gonna say that's probably it's
actually more similar. I'll give you that.
It's more similar to Paul George, but in terms of situation, it's more like the Dame shot over. Funny enough, Paul George
off the dribble, man. Oh, I didn't even connect it. That's funny. Off the dribble, like being able to stop in rhythm like that and pull it from deep. That's an impressive shot. But then again, I'll say that again. Even with that shot, Jalen Brunson was in his bag all game. Like both the play making or the big plays on both sides were very impressive. Like throughout the game, the big plays on both sides, that's why I said I blinked for 1 second. It's a 1-point game. We're talking about missed free throws. Yeah, I think both teams missed critical free throws at times as well. Yeah, but
I thought he was gonna go into a bigger monologue. That's
Oh,
all.
no.
I thought he was gonna go into a bigger monologue than that. But yeah. Look, that game, regardless of what happened to the Knicks, was indeed like a really good shot. Like, I give Maxey all his props. Like, even in the chat last night, I was saying like shout out Tyrese Maxey. I can't even hate on that. We were leading by 6, we choked. You know what? It happens. You know what we're gonna do? We're gonna go into Philadelphia and we're gonna win Game 6. That's what's gonna happen. Jalen Brunson revenge tour. This was never gonna be done in 4 or 5 games. Let's be honest. We all had either the Knicks or Philadelphia in 7. We thought it was going to be more of a backward forward. Don't get me wrong, but I think this series is going to end up in 6 games.
Yeah, it's Philly. Like I said, Philly's a great team. They were never just going to go down this easy. It probably was never going to be this easy. You got a guy like Maxey and Embiid. They're going to be. They can win games like that. They can get you wins that you probably shouldn't have had. So doors open for them. There's a good chance they go back to Philly and they smack us, and Knicks just kind of say, "All right, we'll just win Game 7 at home." I still think there's a chance we go and beat them in Philly. Did it once. I think we can do it again. It's just. Got to be a little bit more well-rounded effort. Knicks need DiVincenzo to get some shots going. They've been doing a really good job running him off the line, but need Devo to get some shots. Need OG Anunoby, honestly, to take more shots. I think he could definitely be more aggressive and get his attempts up. I think that would only.
That's what I was trying to say earlier. It's a little bit on Jalen Brunson there. Like, I understand he was on fire the entire game, but OG probably got only 1 shot attempt that entire overtime.
Yeah,
he should be getting a little more than that.
Somehow, I'll still live with that, bro.
I'll live with it because I understand Jalen Brunson had 40 plus, but at the same time, if the man's open, the man is open. Like, the man was open in the corner. I saw him a couple of times. Jalen Brunson is my favorite player in the NBA, but that also makes me realize, like, I need to hold him accountable for the stuff that he's not doing good as well. Right? You're not a true fan if you don't do that. And
sure.
And I just I love Jalen. And I think he's going to lead us to the promised land one day. But that day needs to happen when he needs to pass the ball. He needs to make a little bit smarter decisions. That's it.
Yeah, it's not the greatest look when he took basically every shot in overtime. It's not the greatest look in the world. I get it.
8 out of 10 shots was just 40. Him.
There are a couple situations, like you said, where you probably want to see him give the ball up a little bit to, the open guy. But he does such a great job of that throughout the whole game, We didn't lose this game because of Brunson. I'll put it that way. We didn't lose it because of him, But still, like you said, we can hold him accountable. Wasn't his best 5 minutes of basketball by any stretch of the imagination. But, listen, NBA fans, other than Knicks fans, win because we get another game. This is already, like Earl said, this has been a legendary round 1 series. Like, this has been an all-time battle. And, especially if this goes 7, this is going to be, absolutely legendary. Like, one of the best first-round matchups, objectively, the NBA had in years. Not to toot my own horn, but that is what I said on this podcast. I said Knicks Sixers would be the best one of the best series in the first round.
The most interesting. 100%. I agree.
100%. Just because we're so evenly matched, I think it was inevitable this was going to happen.
All right, what do we think about the Magic and Cavaliers? What do you think is going on over there? It was a really close game, but the Cavaliers really sealed it away with another Mobley block. What do you guys think of that game last night?
That series to me is
Yeah, whose alarm is going off? I'm sorry. Whose alarm is going off?
Oh, my bad. What's it called? I don't know about that series. I feel like it's the most unpredictable series. It's a blowout. It's a close. There's been 3 blowouts, 1 close game. I honestly can't predict who's going to win this series. It really just depends on who wakes up that day and decides to actually play professional basketball. I feel like there's games where Darius Garland is not locked in. I mean, that game, I think he had 17 in the first quarter, which was cool to see. I feel like Donovan Mitchell, he has times where he's not able to lock in. Then you had games like last game, Paulo Banchero had a great game, where Franz Wagner only made 2 shots. So I think it just comes down to who wants it more. Both teams, I feel like, are pretty, in my opinion, maybe a hot take. I don't know. I think they're pretty evenly matched. If you look
they
at
are 100%
on paper,
matched.
I feel like
100%.
size, they're pretty matched up from point guard all the way down the center. They match up well. So It's just
100%.
going to be who wants it more. I really can't predict who's going to win next game. I don't know if it's going to be another blowout or a close game. I don't know.
Honestly, I think it's going to be
I
I think the Magic and the Cavaliers is what we thought the Knicks and Philly were. I was actually going to look like the actual back and forth of 2-1.
Home team wins every game.
Yes.
Yeah.
Every other team wins every other game. Exactly. But, dude, it's still interesting to see. The Magic's defense has been elite for the postseason. I was like, God damn, I was really surprised actually. And then again, the same thing you said about Donovan Mitchell. Like there are times where you can't lock him, and you need him to be locked in 100% of the time. I know Darius Garland can take some clutch shots. I know Evan Mobley can make those clutch blocks. But if you're JB Bickerstaff, are you relying on Evan Mobley every single night to get a game-winning block? Or are you going to go to Jared Allen?
I mean, Allen was hurt, though.
That's true. That is true. I forgot about that. Actually.
Yeah, he had bruised ribs. So, I mean, Evan Mobley, I mean, he did what he had to do. He locked up. Did? Mm-hmm. He pretty much channeled his inner Jared Allen, even though Evan Mobley's capable of making those big plays. But with him by himself, he didn't really have his backup, his duo down there. So he had to take care of business. So, yeah. I think Evan Mobley's growth in this playoffs has been really cool to see. I mean, we talk about him expanding his game. He was shooting threes throughout the series. He's playing defense, getting rebounds, switching. Like his footwork too has to be studied. Like at his size, his ability to jump without like fouling and like getting really decent blocks. I mean, it's really good. So I credit Cleveland and their coaching staff for making sure they keep him involved throughout that whole game on both ends of the floor. Honestly, I think that Evan Mobley was a difference maker. They could have easily went out there and kind of messed up their game plan with no extra big in Jared Allen. I mean, Jared Allen's averaging like 12 or 13 plus rebounds per game this series. So you're losing a lot with him not being on the floor.
Yeah, you are.
So shout out to Mobley, man. I think he did tremendous.
Max, what do you think about the series?
It's definitely been, I mean, I was one of the few, at least amongst us, who backed Cleveland to win. And I'm not saying they've won this series by any stretch. I mean, I think we all thought they probably won after game 2, but then the Magic hit back very hard in 3 and 4. So it's been impressive to see the growth from Cleveland year over year. I mean, they're running back basically the same team that lost to the Knicks last year, but you can tell that they're more experienced. They're more prepared for the moment. Like you guys said, they stepped up in that like close end game moment last time, and they came away with the dub. Like that's what's important. I think that's what playoff experience does. You're just more prepared for the moment, and they executed at a higher level in that moment, which is why they're able to win, and which is why they're up 3-2 right now. So I still think because of that playoff experience difference that Cleveland is going to win this series either in 6 or 7. But, I mean, still, it's been a good run for Orlando. The fact that they have 2 playoff wins right now, going home with a chance to force a Game 7 and get to a 3rd win. This has been an overachievement this has been an overachieving season by all measurements, I think, for Orlando. Obviously, if they don't win this series, they're going to be like, damn, we could have gone to the 2nd round. Like, that would have been so huge for this franchise. And again, I'm talking like it's over. It's definitely not over. But, I just want to stress the fact that, like, both of these teams have shown massive improvement, Yeah. 100%. Orlando, just by getting this far and being competitive in a first-round series, I think is all you could ask for. And for Cleveland fans, getting a home court playoff series and showing that they're now prepared to be a legitimate playoff team and step up in big moments, that's the big difference that we didn't see from them last year. The Knicks outperformed them when it mattered most. So seeing that Cleveland is more ready this time around shows that they made a good choice by running back kind of that same unit. And that, the Evan Mobleys of the world and the Garlands of the world are more prepared for these big moments where the lights, as Jared Allen said, can be brighter than expected.
And I want to just piggyback off of what you were saying about the playoff experience, Max, because it really ties into what I wanted to say about the Lakers. I personally think it would have been better if the Lakers tried all out on that play-in game and went and saw the Oklahoma City Thunder. I think that playoff experience would have given the Lakers the edge to be able to beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. I'm in no way saying that it's going to be easy either, right? Obviously, it's going to be hard. The Oklahoma City Thunder are a really young team with a really young core with really, really good young players. So with that being said, the playoff experience would be the difference. Earl, I don't know if you agree, but I genuinely think now looking back at the series, I know the games were very, very close with the Lakers in Denver, but I feel like, again, it probably would have been better for you guys to see Oklahoma City.
Honestly, I understand, but at the same time, it's just not a risk that was worth taking. Like, you literally had to lose a game, and then you had to play either the Kings or the Warriors, I think, Whichever, yeah, it would have been the Kings in that case. And the Kings are a team we struggled to beat this year as well. So I think at the time,
they were down 2 players as well, and 2 very key role players.
True, but the reason we lose those games is because of Sabonis and Fox. Like 9 times out of 10, those are the 2 biggest reasons we lost. And those boys were,
I guess every team has their weaknesses.
Yeah, but I just feel like really this game came down to the Nuggets. Like they played like champions, like defending champions. They did their thing, and they're really good. I talked about it before the series started. They're really good at closing games. Like Jamal Murray, Jokic, that pick and roll action is amazing. And once again, like a lot of these games came down to the last shot. We lost 2 games because of buzzer beaters to Murray. So looking back, would I have wanted to just full out lose a game and play the Thunder? I don't think so. I think my biggest thing was if we couldn't beat the Nuggets, then I feel like it would have been hard either way to like get to that point again and have to play them again at the pinnacle of the playoffs. So Nuggets, they just got our hand, man. I'm not going to go back and say I wish we lost the game to play the Thunder. I think things happened how they were supposed to happen. So it sucks. It hurts, but we ball. We move on to next season for sure. But I'm excited to see what happens next year.
Yeah, I am too. And I wanna kind of get a Lakers update because you was running the chat over there at PSF for a little while. You're probably still doing it to a certain extent.
Oh, for sure.
And you've been doing a great job. I could not. I don't know how you hop on the mic after Game 5. I don't. Really? I could not have done it. Like you could not have paid me to get on a mic and talk about the Knicks game last night. You could not have paid me any amount of money.
Really, what happens is
it was hard to get him on today, folks.
I sure as heck wouldn't have done it for free. So shout out, Earl.
The thing is, like my thought process going into those shows too. It's like I already know everybody is like disappointed. Like everybody, for the most part, is sad and disappointed. Like every loss, it tolls on that chat and everybody in like the Lakers community. So my thought process is before I get on, I kind of have my moment. Yes, I'm mad, I'm upset, but I know if I come with that energy, especially early on in the series when we're losing games, I know if I come with that energy, everybody else is going to feed off of it. It's going to be negative. So my whole point, like going like live after every one of those shows, because every loss, I was live, and every time I said, "Hey, we're gonna win the next one." I think it's just about trying to keep people confident. My biggest thing is if you're gonna watch a playoff series, your team may be down, but you still have a chance until it's all over. So the same amount of energy I'll put into hating that game, I'll put into next game up mentality. So I knew if I came in there with negative energy, the chat would be mad and everybody would be mad and there would be no positive outlook. So it sucks, it hurts, but we ball. That's the motto. So yeah, it's hard to go live. I will admit it is hard to go after those L's, but once we turn on the camera and we kind of start talking, I think it's more like we all agree what the problems are, and it's just things that we literally can't control. So we just kind of talk about it. I think talking about losses helps a lot.
Yeah, I do want to get your take on how the timeout situation was handled and how the challenge was made with 3 minutes to go.
Yeah.
And I gotta say this is why I love Thibs, because five points and he's taking a timeout. It doesn't matter.
I will say Tibbs typically he does a good job of saving timeouts. There haven't been many moments in Nick endgames where I'm like, damn, we don't have a timeout right now. Or like I wish we had another timeout.
Actually, probably like last game would have.
We had 2 timeouts.
The crazy thing about it is, like I was watching that game and I think a lot of people in the Lakers chat don't realize that on that second challenge, you don't get your timeout back. So for me, my biggest thing was like, all right, if we're using this timeout, we have to score here. Like you have to get a bucket here, or you're gonna lose the game. Like at that point, I knew if we didn't score off of this challenge, we're going to lose the game. So that play, I think, is Austin Reeves, right corner, takes a 3, misses it, Denver comes back. I think they make a 2 at that point.
So it's like got it too.
Yeah, so it's like a 2-point swing off of really what should have been ours in the first place. So after that, you run to the end of the game. You see the last play, AD kind of just inbounds it. There's really no options to kind of get things going. Jokic kind of like stops Bron to the point where he has no room to dribble to get up court. So Bron has to pass it to Prince. He shoots a half court, just inside the half court arc heave, and that's the game. So the thing about Darvin Ham is, just in general, that whole series, he was pretty bad at calling timeouts and using challenges. Like that clear call where LeBron just like they called it out on Braun, but it clearly hit KCP's knee. I mean, if you're watching the game, you've seen it live on TV, the one where he got really mad. Braun got mad about it. At that point, even if we would have called that timeout, at the end of the game, we ended the game with 2 timeouts. So it really didn't make any sense. Like, we could have called that, challenged it, even lost a timeout, whatever, and we still would have had an extra timeout to go if we needed it. So I think Darvingham's just sense of urgency, it's not there. And
I don't get
know.
how the refs don't even like try to look back at that.
And that's another thing too. Some of these fouls that they call are so like it's not a foul, and then we get punished for it because you guys can't make the right calls. That's the thing too. Like, why should I lose a timeout where I have to challenge a play that you got wrong? Like, I just never understood that. I get like you.
We should get at least 3. We should get at least 3 for a half. That's what I think.
I don't even think it's about the challenge. I just feel like you should just get the timeout back. If you win the challenge, you should get the timeout back regardless. Like 1 or 2, and there's only 2 challenges. But I just feel like just give the timeout back. If it wasn't our fault, why are we getting penalized for it? That's my biggest thing.
Yeah, I mean, look, we're kind of in the same boat here because like me and Max are the first Knicks fans to tell you that game 2 was a fluke and the Sixers should have won. Like, we are the first rational Knicks fans to tell you that.
Yeah.
People will defend it to the end, whatever. Like, y'all can die on that boat if you want to, but Tyrese Maxey was fouled. We should have
Jersey Pole's a Jersey Pole. Put it that way. Jersey Pole is a Jersey Pole.
Jersey Pole is a Jersey Pole.
Facts.
Regardless if it was before or after, it doesn't matter. Sorry. Anyway.
Actually, technically, wouldn't that have been an away from the play foul as well? Because
yeah,
I wasn't even inbounded.
Yeah. It should have been like 2 or 3 fouls called within that. Game of Maxey moving 5 feet, 3 fouls occurred. 1, Jalen Brunson pulls his jersey out. 2, Josh Hart fucking pushes him on the floor. And then 3, Jalen Brunson's grabbing and scratching at his hands. Like,
makes no sense, bro. I'm like,
you guys are good, but you're pissing me off. Like,
I hate how you can't challenge a non-call. Like, I understand it in theory because there's nothing to challenge, but at the same time, spirit of the law says I feel like you should be able to challenge anything and just be like, hey,
100%.
No, you didn't call a foul here. I'm challenging the no call. I think that should be a thing.
And we should be able to do this. I think we should be able to do this. I think that within the last 2 minutes of the game, where it's very crucial, they are allowed to swap 1 timeout for 1 challenge. It'll encourage coaches to call less timeouts during the game, so you can save them if you need challenges. And they're already swapping 1 anyway. So as soon as they take up the amount of challenges that they have, take 1 of their timeouts, challenge the play, see what happens.
Yeah. I mean, I see the vision. I feel like refereeing is not interfering a lot, but in crucial games in these playoffs, it's been some calls like across the league that's like, okay, like, come on, bro. Like that block on Jokic, like it was all ball. Like it literally all ball, but since guys are going like James Harden does it too. Like that James Harden, like you guys seen the Luka games. Or I said the Mavs games. Like James Harden will be sitting in the paint, grabbing a rebound, and then he'll go like that with his neck, and they call a foul. Like literally, like the play is pretty much over. He'll go like this, and then foul on whoever is there on the rebound. I'm like, bro, how are y'all calling that?
I gotta say this too, man.
Like, geez, bro, we need some good eyes,
dude. Relating to that, Max. I don't know if you saw this. But there was 3 no calls yesterday where Joel Embiid straight up chops Mitchell Robinson in the neck. There was at least 2 plays where that happened.
Yeah, Mitch gets hit in the face a lot.
No call. That's bullshit.
I was like, there's a lot of no calls, I will say, for Philly as well. I think particularly Maxey gets a really bad whistle for how much he goes to the basket. He drives a lot and gets basically no.
I'm not touching Maxey with a 10-foot pole because that man can get a basket anywhere on the field. That man is a 3-level scorer. Hey, that's a point guard.
Yeah, he really can. But he goes to the basket. And he does get smacked a lot. Maybe it's because he's light. Maybe he just falls a lot when he drives. But there's definitely plays there where I'm like, they could have called a foul on.
I can understand the vision. I guess the NBA wants to become a little bit more physical, right?
In the playoffs,
but you gotta be consistent.
In the playoffs,
but you have to be consistent.
I agree. It's about doing it on both sides, though. Like there are some plays like people get mad at Lakers being like, "Oh, y'all shoot so many free throws." It's because we force the ball in the paint. You're not gonna get a whole bunch of free throws if you're shooting a whole bunch of mid-range and open threes the whole game. They complain. We put the ball on the ground and we go to the paint and attack the paint. That's how we get free throws. I don't think guys should be penalized and stop getting whistled just because we have more free throws. That's just how we play. Like there's a lot of plays where there's this one play on LeBron. Aaron Gordon has his arm on his back. Jokic has his arm like on his chest/neck area, and then he makes the layup, but it's no foul call. Bron falls to the floor, and then it's just like keep playing. Like, and then he talks to the refs like I'm just like, bro, at that point, it's just like, come on, bro. Like, if a foul, like, and then if you sneeze on Jokic, it's going to be a foul. Like, if he goes,
same thing with him
really wants to go get a foul, he can get one whenever he wants to. Like, I'm surprised he wasn't just spamming that because that whistle, bro, I'm sorry. Like, it's just some players, they just don't get that, which is crazy. Like, I think there was a stat like Devin Booker in his last game, he had more free throws attempted than LeBron in the whole series that we played versus Denver. In one game. So it's just like people say Lakers fans complain about free throws, but it's just the fact that we drive to the paint a lot and we get hit a lot. Like, and you should be called for that. That's one of our skills. We pride ourselves as being a team who attacks the paint and finishes. Like, we're not the best 3-point shooting team. We finish in the paint a lot. Like that. I think the game before that we won, we had 72 paint points. Like, we just attacked that paint, and that's how we took care of business.
Yeah, Earl. Building off that, like, I honestly think y'all should have gone to the paint more on Denver because this is the one thing that I've noticed about Denver, and I think this is the only way Denver will lose a playoff series this year, is they don't defend the paint in the absolute slightest bit. Like, quite literally, as great as Jokic is, if you watch him defensively, it is a straight-up layup line on him in the paint. Like, he does not help at all. Maybe that's just the Nuggets' defensive philosophy is don't help in the paint, just play one-on-one. If you get beat, we give up a layup. It's fine. Just try and get the rebound, Jokic. But quite literally, I mean, in the fourth quarter, Lakers were just walking to the basket a lot of times. And, like, yeah, there was some contact there. The fouls that probably should have been called. But, like, y'all should have just been going to the paint quite literally. Shoot 4 3-pointers in the whole game. Just every single possession. Bron or AD or Reeves going downhill. And Jokic is not contesting these shots. Aaron Gordon is not contesting these shots. They're just playing for the rebound. So I feel like the only way the Nuggets lose in these playoffs, and they honestly could happen against Minnesota because Minnesota is that big in the paint, they might just get paint points just to elimination here. Because if Gobert and Towns really decide to just go inside on them, I don't see the Nuggets really being able to stop that. Like, they just don't defend the paint for whatever reason. That is their one weakness. It's a layup line with Jokic.
How much you guys want to bet that Anthony Edwards is going to shave his head in like 2 years?
Yeah, I mean, listen, like Anthony Edwards, he could go in and just absolutely yam.
I don't know if he's going to Jordan style.
Like, they just
I think he's going to go Jordan. I think with the amount of comparisons that they got going online, he's 100% going Jordan.
I don't think he's going to shave his hair, bro. He's young. He's got the little cut
going. No. In like 2 years. 2 years.
I don't see it, bro. I think.
Well, we also forget like Jordan wasn't losing his hair either. He just decided to go bald.
True, but I just don't see him. Like, oh, I'm gonna shave my head now. Like I see what you're saying. I see that would be like ultimate sports fan lore, like just completing the storyline, but
changes his number.
Yeah, but as far as like the paint thing, I agree. I think the game plan was set. AD Bron pick and roll. The thing that hurts me the most is that AD stinger, like at the end of the third quarter, bro, that kind of changed the flow of that game. Like he took a bump from Michael Porter Jr. I think it was more of like, I don't even think it was that it was like so hard. I think it was just like one of those unexpected things, like when somebody's like kind of running at full speed, they hit you, but you're not expecting it. I think that's really what it was. And like you've seen it, like he really couldn't move. Like he talked about, he couldn't really move the left side of his like neck down for like pretty much like that whole like end of the third to like all the way down to almost the end of the fourth quarter. And then he finally kind of like you see when he kind of got his feeling back, he was playing a little bit better. But I think that kind of stopped the hey, attack the paint. Because you've seen like Max is right. Like you've seen Bron towards the end, he was taking that ball to the paint because it was easy. It was like he was doing one dribble drives, dunking in the paint because they were just leaving it there. And I think that is correct. Like they really don't have any crazy paint defense. I think the biggest reason why I feel like two reasons, like slight transition. Two reasons why I feel like the Timberwolves will win this series. One, they've already faced heartbreak before. Remember, they were supposed to play us. Like if they got eliminated by Denver before we did. Like they were that matchup Denver Timberwolves last year. Anthony Edwards missed that tough three, off balance three to win that game, and I think it's in the series. And that press conference when he was sad, had his head down, he was disappointed. He said he was disappointed in himself compared to this season and how he's playing now in the playoffs. I think it's one of those revenge tour situations. They know they probably would have had a good chance to contest with us. Who knows? Probably, I mean, they could have had, I'll say, like, they had a chance to go to the NBA Finals just as much as Denver did with that matchup. So I think that's kind of sitting with them as well. They were playing them a little bit earlier than last year, just like us. And like Max said, size. Size is what's going to kill that team. I think size and defense, those two things, they actually have lockdown guard / perimeter defenders who can irritate Murray a lot better than I feel like we could with this roster. They have Jaden McDaniels. They have Nikhil Alexander-Walker. Mike Conley's kind of an old head, but he's a really good playmaker, three-point shooter. So
you can't say that. He just injured his coach.
Oh, okay. That's crazy. That's crazy. But like Max said, I think the Timberwolves, as far as size, physicality, on paper, Timberwolves have everything they need to beat them, but you still got to counter against Jokic and Murray, obviously, and Michael Porter Jr. You just can't let him be a factor. Michael Porter Jr., you cannot let Michael Porter Jr. average more than 18 points a series or you're done. I think he averaged like 24, 25 points in our series because of Darvin Ham's stupid scheme. The way to beat Denver is don't worry about Jokic, don't worry about Murray. Michael Porter Jr. is the series killer. They got to stop that dude early in the series.
I got to say this before we get off the Lakers real quick. There was a report recently that the Lakers are expected to re-sign Darvin Ham for another 2 years. What are your thoughts on it? Do you think it's actually going to happen or is he done? I mean, there was a report recently. It was probably about a week ago.
Oh, no, that's done.
Yeah, no.
As far as a week ago, that's not happening.
Yeah, no.
He's done. Yeah.
That's
a quick one.
Yeah, no.
No.
Y'all won one game and they were like, "Yep, we're gonna re-sign Ham."
No, that was before that. That was like beginning of the series when we were losing. They dropped that report, but as of now, especially what he was saying in the media and stuff like that, he has no pull in that locker room. It's not happening.
I love how Mike Malone was like, "Oh, I hope that Darvin Ham keeps the position." I was like, "Bro, you just want free wins."
It's sarcasm. We all know it. And the thing about it is, as a coach saying that, he can say that, and it's good, like coaching perspective. But fans in the whole basketball world knows it's a diss. Like Michael Malone was literally saying in the middle of the series, he said, "Yeah, we have so many adjustments. I mean, we haven't even had to pull those out yet." Like he was talking crazy. We have Michael Porter Jr. doing live podcasts throughout the series because he knew every night Ham was gonna give him 26 free points every night. Like that's how bad of a coaching scheme we had that we gave these guys confidence to do whatever they wanted. So Ham is not coming back. If he does,
I really hope for y'all like he doesn't come back because there's been a ton of coaches who have done less who have gotten fired before Darvin Ham. Like this man makes me feel like I can coach in the NBA.
Awful.
Didn't Darvin Ham just have like an absolutely wild quote in like his exit interview or something?
He always has a wild quote. This is not new news.
About like players and like making lineup adjustments, and he's like, "Well, if one of my starters plays terribly for 10 straight games, what do you expect me to do?" I'm like, "Bro, you can't say that. Like that is a direct."
And then he blamed injury. He blamed injury. He said we were an injured team. No, Darvin Ham, our core, LeBron 70 plus games. Anthony Davis 76 plus games. Austin Reeves did not miss a single game this season. I think Rui missed like 5 or 6 games early on. D'Lo, he probably missed like 6-7 games max. The core of this team was healthy. You did not put together a scheme to help us compete and win in the Western Conference, bro. Do not go and play Van injuries. And the fun thing is, Vando was there. Like, you should have seen like his face when he said that in the press conference. It was just crazy. Like, really, bro? Like, it's just, if we're gonna blame that we didn't have Vando for the whole entire loss of this playoffs, that's pitiful, bro. We had a core of players who should have worked well. You had times where you had D'Lo and Reeves coming off the bench. You had Brown at point guard at times. You had Brown at center in some games, starting like that. Like, you had games where Rui Hachimura early in the year, he was playing like 12 minutes a game. 12 minutes. When we put him in the starting lineup and he was playing that 30 plus, I think we had a crazy like number of games won compared to our loss. I think we lost like maybe 6 or 7 compared to like 30 plus wins or something like that with that starting lineup together. So it's just like things like that. Like, it's just a slap in the face, bro. Like, we knew you were selling us, but to go on the press conference and embarrass us like that, it's just like, bro, you literally lost all your dignity. If the Lakers re-sign him, then somebody needs to get Jeannie Buss out of there. Rob Pelinka needs to go, and they need to restart from the very beginning. Like, I get legacy is everything. Shout out to the Buss family, but there's times where
questionable decision after questionable decision.
Exactly. And that's all I got on him. I don't want to hear his name.
All right, let's get off of the Lakers.
Off of us.
Let's get off of the Lakers. We've been talking to Lakers for borderline like 30 minutes. It's actually kind of insane. But I do want to. You know what? You know what? It only makes sense because we do talk about the Knicks almost every podcast. But I do want to turn our attention to the Phoenix Suns because there's a lot of news out of there. There's a lot of rumblings, and obviously not all of them are true, right? We hear rumblings about KD, Brad Beal, and Devin Booker all upset. People think that they all want to leave. Stephen A. Smith said the other day that the New York Knicks want him, and he wants to be in New York. I am not going to comment on that.
Stephen A. is a trusted source now.
I honestly, yeah. Bro talks to Michael Jordan. He's a trusted source in my opinion.
Never mind. I got my thoughts on this.
Single thing he said.
Because Michael Jordan, you really think Michael Jordan's gonna be like go out in the media and say, "Oh no, I don't talk to Stephen A. Smith." Michael Jordan does not talk to the media, so of course that's like he can go say that, and no one's gonna contest that.
Anyway, what I'm trying to say is, do we think that even after only 1 year, do we think that one of those three need to be out of Phoenix? And do they need to kind of replenish their bench with something new?
I mean, yes, but I just don't know how they do it because Beal has a no trade clause and is $50 million. I don't know what team in their right mind is taking that at this point. I don't even know. And any team that probably could offer Phoenix a decent return is going to be a bad team with a lot of draft picks. The Beal's just going to veto the trade anyways. So he's not going anywhere.
I'm not going to.
You don't want to just trade Durant because he's the nucleus. And, certainly if you trade Durant, then you're just giving up everything.
Is he the nucleus?
Yes. I mean, I would still say Durant is the best player on that team. And it's like, if you're trading Durant, I don't think a team of Booker and Beal is going to go very
hell no.
And then, it's the same thing with Booker. It's like you want to keep Durant and Booker together because that's the nucleus that could get you a championship. But the third guy, you can't move him because you can't get him anywhere. So I just don't know what you do. Like, do you just give away Durant and Booker? And then just completely just reset everything and just go for 3 or 4 years of terribleness because they don't really own many of their picks. All their picks are subject to pick swaps.
Yeah.
They don't have cap space. They don't have attractive bench players that you can flip for like a first round pick or flip for like a decent young contract. I just don't know what they do. And it's like, it's so crazy to think about.
I have the answer.
If you told me or you told anyone, an NBA fan, at the start of the season, let's say you said in December that the Phoenix Suns would end the season with as many playoff wins as the Detroit Pistons or the Charlotte Hornets, you would have said we're crazy. Like, there's no way Phoenix has the same amount of playoff wins. They didn't win a game. They didn't take a game. I thought they would win in 6. I thought they did.
And to add, Max,
Phoenix. And they
none of the games were close.
Like, none of them were. And we all thought they would
do with that team.
Look, I mean,
how How do you not win a playoff game with Durant and Booker? How do you not win a single playoff game?
Durant's like what, 37, 38?
But still, like KD, you're talking like KD was like averaging like 18, bro. He was averaging 27 points a game.
I'm not saying he wasn't doing that, but there were some
75
games
and shot 41% from three. Like Kevin Durant was not the problem. It's that young buck Devin Booker who disappears, except for the magical last games. Notice every time it's the last game, he shows up when it's too late. You gotta play like that the whole series.
And I mean, look,
you got dogs.
I think it's real promising if look, I mean, dude, can you really see any other option but trading Devin Booker?
I think they just have to run it back.
Yeah.
I don't know what else you can do. I mean, at this point, Vogel, I guess.
Firing Vogel won't do anything. Vogel would have gotten the Lakers farther than Darvin Ham. Personally,
that's a fact.
That's a fucking fact.
If you trade any one of these three guys, they will not be competitive in the West.
That's what I'm
saying. Suns.
Like, yeah, I mean, trade Devin to the East.
Are you just saying that you just want Devin to the Knicks?
I mean, dude, like, I'm not trying to even push the propaganda because I'm not even trying to hit the hammer on it because, again, like, I don't want to talk about the Knicks anymore. Like, we lost Game 5. I don't want to talk about them. But, like, goddamn, who gives you a better offer than the New York Knicks? Mitchell Robinson, fucking Miles McBride. You could take those two players with more, obviously. There's more players. There's obviously a lot more players than that. And you could attach, you could literally trade fucking 5 picks, including the 3 that we are 2 or 3 that we have this year. Like,
for Devin Booker, though, I feel like you guys got all the picks in the world. You guys got all the picks in the world. I agree with that. But if they're going to trade Devin Booker, if they are going to get a star back. A team will trade a star back for Devin Booker.
I promise you, if they trade for Miles McBride, Miles McBride is going to do big things in fucking Phoenix.
For Devin Booker, yes, because assuming that they trade
and Mitchell Robinson, you get a better center than fucking Nurkic already. Just throw Nurkic on the bench.
I mean, I don't know, but
I just don't
Nurkic
see.
Is a
if
dog.
You're trading Booker, it's going to be like Omar said, the best package you can get just in terms of like value in a nutshell.
A shit ton of picks.
Is going to be picks. It's going to be picks and young players.
True.
That doesn't make them better. I don't know if there's going to be a team that's just going to straight up swap a star for Booker. Like, I mean, we saw them get Durant. They gave up Bridges, who's not on the level of Durant, Cam Johnson, and picks. It's like, the superstar for the bunch of assets. And it's like, if you're trying to win now, you want to get the superstar.
But I mean, like, you're going to get. But I know I get that. I'm saying, but you're going to get like a younger, like, star potential type player. Like, Mikal Bridges, like, he's not a scrub. It's just. He's not
we cannot sleep on Mikal's defensive ability because that's quite literally the reason why they went to the finals. I'm sorry, because now they have absolutely no defense.
Sure.
Yeah. They have no defense. If they had Mikal Bridges on their squad, if they somehow managed to keep Mikal Bridges there, maybe trade, let's say, Chris Paul instead of Mikal Bridges with Cam Johnson, they wouldn't have done it. They wouldn't have done it. But we're talking hypothetical. We're talking about hypothetical.
Wait, say that again.
We're talking about hypothetical.
No, I'm saying like what you said. I missed it.
And Chris Paul instead of Mikal Bridges.
I just don't think that has any. That's I know you're saying hypothetical.
All right. We're hypothetical over here. We're not being serious.
Just trade Durant for a second round pick, but like that's not happening. That wouldn't.
But there's probably more involved. But what I'm trying to say is, if they traded somebody else other than Mikal Bridges, they would have been in a better situation than they are right now.
I just think they shouldn't have traded for Beal. I think the Durant Booker situation could have worked. And then, I mean, listen, they did get off the Chris Paul contract, but maybe that was just their only way of doing that. But like,
I honestly think
worst case scenario is you just keep Chris Paul and you just run Paul, Booker, Durant, try and figure out. They traded Ayton this offseason too. So I mean, I
should have never let go of Ayton, and they should have never traded Booker. But I mean, they should have never traded for Bill. Those two mistakes sold them. I felt like with Ayton, he can lock down the paint. I realized like they had a lot of problems, but I feel like most of those problems were with
honestly once
old coaching, old system. So they should have kept him in, brought him into this new system. Because what I do know is Vogel with an active big is great. Like Nurkic is good, but Ayton, he's younger. He can move his feet a lot better.
That's like Dwight Henderson. That's like Dwight Howard.
Great defense. Like he's really physical. He's a really big. Like he's a good big. And I feel like they sold. Like, they should have never traded Ayton. And that Bill thing just made no sense. Why in the world would you get another 2 guard when you have a top? Well, really, people say top 1, top 5, whatever. I'm not gonna put a number on it. You have one of the best 2 guards in the league. So why go get another one? You should have got like a small forward, power forward, or center, or even a point guard at that.
Yeah, get a point guard. That's what this team's sorely like. I mean, Booker's
that's why I said Miles
I don't want to
McBride.
take away from Booker's playmaking ability, but that team would have benefited greatly from a point guard or just defense at any position, quite frankly.
But Miles McBride is not gonna solve their problems, bro. Like Max.
I'm not saying Miles McBride is going to solve their problems. It's obviously going to take a lot more than that, but he's going to probably do bigger things in Phoenix. He's going to probably score more points. He's going to get more minutes. He's going to play like hard defense, which is what they need. If you pair that with Mitchell Robinson and again Miles McBride with Kevin Durant and for God honest conversation, because we're not trading for Bradley Beal. Exactly. I think that might be better than what they have now. I mean, they have 3 ball dominant players, and we've seen before when it's like 3+ ball dominant players doesn't work. We saw it in Brooklyn. We saw it in. I mean, it was only for a little bit.
The Brooklyn thing, a lot of that story gets overshadowed because that Kyrie injury changed a lot for that team.
I know.
I promise you guys that Kyrie injury. I think that was the
COVID,
Bucks
bro.
one.
And COVID.
Like, not even that. We're talking about after COVID, bro. Kyrie Irving comes back. I think what was that? Was that the year before?
Dude, it was
COVID
still during the COVID year. It was still during the COVID year, but it wasn't like
before that in that series where Kyrie got hurt. That team legitimately was in position to take over that whole Eastern Conference, and he got hurt. Kevin Durant foot on the line. I don't even remember if that was the same year, but
I think it was because that was when they played the Bucks, and the Bucks won, and they went to the Bucks won the finals that year. It was 21.
And easily, if they would have got past the Bucks, they would have cleared the rest of that. They would have won that, bro. They were playing the scared. What was it? It was the Suns, right? That year, right?
Yeah.
The scared Booker and then choking Paul. That would have been a championship series with Kyrie, KD, and Harden versus that team right there. Easily would have won. I don't care what nobody says.
But the difference with that team is that those guys complement each other well, and that guys at their points in career complement each other very well. And I think Booker and Durant complement each other well. I just don't see how Beal. If you are committing to Beal, because Kyrie is a pure point guard, and Harden was honestly probably the best playmaker on that team. They had.
I'm gonna look up Bradley Beal's contract.
Yep.
Yeah. I just don't see Beal working with this team. I just don't see Beal being as effective as he could be somewhere else. But now you can't get rid of him, and it's not.
I mean, he has only 2 more seasons with 103
no trade clause, bro.
Then
over.
I mean, at that point, then just run it back for 2 more seasons and then at that point, Durant will be old and Booker will probably want out. And so either you win in the next.
That's what I'm saying. It's like they kind of either trade him now or don't trade him at all.
What I'm saying
is, who are they going to trade him to?
There's no point to panic trade at this point. It's really no point. Like what you're gonna get back is not gonna be worth it for giving up Booker at this point.
Yeah, and that's another thing. Like if that is the end situation, like that just shows a massive front office flop. If the fact that you're only out of this situation is trading your franchise star, the one that you drafted and has been on this team. People forget that Booker's been on this team for like 8 years now. Like 7, 8 years. Like he is their franchise player. And obviously Durant, I would still argue, is probably the better player, but like Booker is the Suns and has been. If your only way out of this situation is trading Booker, that shows a massive failure on your part.
I'm sorry, guys. I found something super funny. I think I have to show y'all. So I was just scrolling on Hoops Hype, and I was like, I was checking like Bradley Beal's contract, and I just decided, what does it say about the Knicks loss? So I saw it, and I see a photo of Tracy Morgan giving Tyrese Maxey the middle finger. Look at that.
Word has it, he's still there holding it up.
Word has it. And look at Ben Stiller. He looks like Jimmy Neutron in this photo.
It looks like he's gonna bite somebody.
No, I never. Somebody said I never understood the meaning about seething mad until I saw this man.
No, but
oh, that was funny.
I will say too. I think at this point, They gotta ride it out, bro. This is what happens when you go star chasing, bro. You just gotta
sit in it.
You gotta sit in this, bro. And I think trading for Bill, looking back, I feel like even the KD trade, I feel like, okay, yeah, they gave that up, but KD has given you what he's supposed to give you. Like, as far as
the KD trade's not
production,
the problem.
boom.
Yeah, no,
They messed up when they got Bill. Bill just, it was like, let me see if this will work. It just was the worst possible thing they could have done in this era of Phoenix Suns. They could have got literally anybody else. Their Bill trade is equivalent to what we did with Russell Westbrook. Same type of situation. You're stuck with a contract.
Got a worse contract.
That's hard. Yeah, well, yeah, his is worse because it's multiple years too, and no trade clause. Like, that's way worse. But this is their version of that. Like, and learning from experience, you just gotta literally wait till that last year of that contract. You gotta ride it out. That's the only way to kind of do it, and do a contract dump on a different team for some other players that may work, may not work. But do not panic sell now. It's just not worth it. You can end up messing up your whole future, even though it's kind of unclear right now.
I mean, I think they already fucked up their future with bringing Bradley Beal, and it's like,
that's what I'm saying.
It's gonna be hard.
It's gonna be worse.
It's gonna be hard to trade Bradley Beal. I mean, look,
it's gonna be impossible. I don't think anyone trades for him.
They can't do anything.
I think it's gonna come at a heavy cost to the Phoenix Suns, and I think they're gonna have to realize sooner rather than later that Bradley Beal is probably not going to yield the return that they traded for.
Yeah, no,
so,
what did they trade?
I mean, like, exactly. Like, that trade is like super like bad too. Like, I don't think anybody realizes like that wasn't a really good trade regardless. I mean, let me look it up. Bradley Beal.
Yeah.
I think they attached it to another contract.
I don't even think that. It's not even that the trade was bad. It's just it didn't make sense for this team. I feel like.
Yeah, it would have made more sense to just not trade.
All right, the Suns got Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, and Isaiah Todd. The Wizards get Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Bilal Coulibaly through the Pacers, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 picks.
Wait,
it was in the trade. It was in the trade.
But the Wizards would have had that first anyways,
right? That was the Wizards on first.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it says that they traded it. Look, I'll pull it up in a sec. I'll pull it up in a sec. Hold on.
I could have swore because the draft lottery, the way it went, the Wizards got that pick.
Yeah, the Wizards landed 7th. They made that trade afterwards.
This is what this says.
We can't read that.
Okay. So, again, Bradley Beal, Jordan Goodwin, Isaiah Todd go to the Suns. The Wizards got Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Bilal Coulibaly, because that was through the Pacers. The Pacers picked up Bilal Coulibaly, right? So it was on trade night. No?
No.
Why does NBA.com say that?
That's weird.
The Pacers are also a part of the trade. They send Bilal Coulibaly, the number 7th pick in the 2023 draft. Yeah.
Okay, so maybe what I think. Maybe what happened is, oh gosh, I gotta go back to thinking about this. I mean, you're right. Like I see what you're saying. Oh, maybe it was just the Wizards had the 8th pick and they just swapped to the 7th, so they just traded up one. Basically, they got a +1 trade up and drafted Coulibaly.
Hold on.
Yeah, I mean, listen, it doesn't really matter. Like, this is a terrible trade.
They traded it in a draft day trade with Indiana. So
was it really a draft day?
It was a draft day trade.
Oh, so they traded up a spot?
The Indiana Pacers selected Bilal Coulibaly with the 7th overall pick in the draft and traded his rights to the Washington Wizards for 2 future second-round picks and the draft rights to Jarace Walker. And then he signed. So that was kind of its own
trade then, and they just folded it in with the Beal trade.
Yes.
Okay.
So then Bilal Coulibaly, 1 first-round pick upcoming this year, 2 second-round pick 2024, 2025 second, a first round pick swap 2026,
Yeah.
a second round pick in 2026,
Oh my god, they got this many
a
firsts.
27th second round pick,
Yeah, this was
a
atrocious.
28th, a
This is
2028 first round
fleece.
pick, a 2028 second round pick, a 2030 first round pick swap, and then a 2030 second round pick. And then the Pacers got Jarace Walker, future second round pick via Washington, and then a future second round
That's
pick via the
abysmal.
Suns.
That is an actually
Yeah.
abysmal trade. That's
The
a F
Wizards
trade. That's a little F
cooked.
trade for Phoenix.
I didn't know it was like that. The Wizards cooked. They got rid of one of the worst contracts and got what, 4 firsts for it, a whole bunch of seconds. What?
That is actually fleece.
Looking
That's an
back, I
all-time
did not
fleece.
know it was that good, bro. What?
Yeah.
Bro, I'm sorry. I'm in kind of shock right now. Yeah, that's a terrible.
Honestly,
trade.
yeah, like fair play, Omar, for pulling that up. I forgot it was that bad. That is actually, and that is abysmal. That is egregious.
That many picks.
It was
For
really bad.
real, I don't know if you
It
can
was
ask
really
for a
bad.
deal for someone to take him right now.
Oh my god, you can't even
I
do
would
that in
never give a
2K.
pick for Bill.
You
And
can't put that many picks
Bro,
in 2K.
in our fantasy league, I would never. Even if he's available in that redraft and he's sitting there, I'm not taking that fool. I'm sorry.
Yo, Earl, what's this?
can
What's
sit
this?
there.
What's this Donovan Mitchell trade that you had in mind? What's going on with it?
Nah, I changed my mind. You keep sending me some weird stuff.
I didn't send you weird stuff. You said, I don't know.
You keep acting like Mitchell Robinson is like Jesus.
He is a big.
bro.
He's not Jesus. Take it easy.
I'm just saying that's the way you're advertising it, man. I'm just saying,
Man,
like,
no, I'm not
he's-
saying that. I'm saying he's
good,
gonna be.
but it's not like. What do you mean he's gonna be?
Yeah,
You're
but
like
I'm
he's a
also
rookie.
giving you. I'm also giving you Donovan Mitchell. You have to
I
understand.
mean, you're not giving me like I'm trading for him. Like it's not
Well,
like
I'm getting Luca, so yeah, I guess.
yeah, like it's not like a.
All right,
that
let
point-
me read the trade to Max, and then let me see what you think, Max.
All
Would
right,
you
all
do
right.
this?
To end off this podcast, we'll do a quick trade.
To end this real quick,
Cooked by
so
Omar.
I put Donovan Mitchell, Mitchell Robinson, Ben Simmons, and
Which I don't
Harrison
want.
Barnes.
Which I don't want.
I know you don't want those two players. I understand. And the 2024 second round pick, second round 9th pick, and then a second round for next year for Luka Doncic and Jabari Smith Jr.
Absolutely.
I wouldn't do that even for Lucas straight up. I'll be honest with you.
Thank you.
Damn.
Donovan Mitchell's
Yeah.
good. Luca's much better, and you know, there's some
I
solid
mean,
value around it,
that's the one who asked me. So
Actually, I put in the chat Luka was available, and then
you hit
That's
me
the
up
dude you
about
came
Donovan
to.
Mitchell though.
yeah, I know. Like for Donovan, I didn't say it had to be Luka. That's what you came up with.
Yeah, but who else am I going to trade for on your squad other than Luca?
I'm
For
just
Donovan
saying.
Mitchell.
No, I'm just saying. Like that's not a problem. I'm just saying. Like somebody, I can't take Mickey.
You
Mouse
were
deals.
expecting
It's
that wasn't a Mickey
2024.
Mouse deal. That's
come
not a
on,
I
Mickey
mean,
bro.
Earl
Mouse
could put
deal.
together some of his young players. I mean, he's got Bilal, Jabari. You can maybe do like a massive young player.
Brandon
package for
Miller.
Mitchell, but
I have a lot of good youth, bro, and that's okay.
I
'cause
know, but
I
I'm
feel like a lot of
also
people sleep on him.
relying on that redraft. That redraft is going to do everybody pretty nice.
that is true.
Wait, when is that
Hey.
happening? When is that happening?
We don't have a date right now.
Come on, figure it out. It should be like 2 seconds to set up.
No, but I know, but it's about making sure everybody's available. You know what I mean? We don't. It will happen. Be patient. Enjoy basketball.
Enjoy
Enjoy basketball.
That's a good way to end it off. You know, we are in the middle of the playoffs, so it's been a great first round. There's going to be some good
For
probably
sure.
series that goes 7. Like we said,
Yeah.
Knicks hitting Sixers, good chance that goes 7. I know we didn't really touch on Bucks and Pacers, but
Betting
Giannis,
on my new Knicks killer.
if the Bucks get one of their
That's
stars
so
back,
mean.
series
By the way,
probably
my
goes
niece
7.
was just born, and Earl's been teasing me about she was born on the same day the Knicks lost. I said, "Ain't no way my niece is gonna be born the same day the Knicks lose," and the Knicks let me down. And then Earl's gonna be like, "I'm relying on my new Knicks killer." Earl,
Yeah,
if this
but they're
happens,
gonna
I'm
be-
flying.
A star is born.
Earl, if that happens, I'm flying to wherever you're at. And I'm just gonna.
Omar, no, it's like Omar. Someone's at the door.
Ding dong.
I'll have to look
Thank you
down.
guys so much. Appreciate everybody for tuning in every week. Hopefully next time we hop on, it won't be as depressing as the first time. But thank you guys so much again. We're on Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your podcasts. We prefer the visual if you guys want, but audio will do you just well, right? But thank you guys so much, and peace.
I got infinity money.